Pro Football Weekly. Well, Sam Spence in the background telling you like it is here. Big week 3. A lot of stuff to do. Got off to a start. Panthers and Texans. 6-8 last week versus spread, 1 push, so not too good. 13-16 with the spread. That's why I'm glad I don't care about picking the spread. I just do it because you're supposed to. I don't pick it for what I root for either, which is good. But great to be here today. Let me just dull my tunes here. But a big week ahead. They're all so big when you have 17 weeks in the NFL. But week 3, lots of things to talk about. Just so much ahead of us here. If you look around, it's only one nut-cutting game this week. That's the Giants and the Falcons. Remember what we call nut-cutting games, and both teams are winless because, surprisingly, there's only one game like that this week. The 2 0-2 teams. And 0-3 is just is really rough. It's almost certain death, but not quite. And I gave you the stats last week on the Vikings about I'm a Viking weekly show here and telling it like it is. I gave you those stats. It doesn't look good when you're starting out 0-2. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But again, talking about the schedule, big schedule person, a couple of teams today with the big schedule benefit. So if you look at the Panthers the other night, I'm not saying the Panthers can't have a good year, and obviously they're off to a very good start, but look at that schedule. Okay, so you get some good breaks week 1. Week 2, you play a hapless you play Jets in week 1. You didn't even look great, but you win the game. Or week 2 that is actually. And then basically you have the Texans the other night without Taylor. Okay. So the Panthers have really benefited from a good schedule, and the Broncos are going to benefit today by playing the Jets. And the Broncos, they benefited from it too. I think the Broncos are a little better than obviously the Panthers, but the Broncos could possibly be 3-0. So they've really benefited from in my mind, to a really good schedule. And that's always just so helpful to get off to that great start. So to me, a very beneficial schedule. And that's always just something that's just so important. And then there's other teams like my beloved Vikings here, whose schedule is really challenging these first couple of weeks. And that's why that Cincinnati game meant so much to us. But we'll go around the league. We'll try to pick some of the spreads, and we'll see what we have here. First game of the day. Again, we can't pick the Thursday night games. Colts at the Titans. Titans offense came to life last week, had over 500 yards total offense. Titans are favored by 4.5. We don't know about Carson Wentz, so this is really unfair to have to pick this game. Him and Cook today, it doesn't look like, looks like maybe Wentz will play, but maybe not Cook, so it's hard to pick these games. The Colts' backs up against it. We know that the Colts, if they go 0-3, we know the Colts are better than an 0-3 team. Frank Reich's an excellent coach, but in the lack of patience where we live in today, he'll be on the hot seat. But I'm gonna take the Titans today in that game, plus the 4.5. Falcons Giants. The Giants had a good offensive week. They put up some points against the Skins, who have a very good defense. So you're hoping that if you're a Giant fan here in New York, I mean, we need to win somewhere. I got Jets 0-2, Giants 0-2. They'll be jumping off the buildings if they don't find a way to get a W here. But Falcons, Matty Ryan put up some numbers late the other day, but I'm going to go with the Giants 2.5 at home. I'll pick the Gents for that game. And again, that's the goddamn nut-cutting game. You go 0-3, you're in deep shit. And not that the Falcons are winning the NFC South anyway with the Buccaneers in there, but still, you don't want to get off to an 0-3 start. It just makes for a long, long season. Then you got the swing games, 2 teams at 1-1. So a win and you're having a good season, a loss and everything is made so much worse. And remember the old quote from Friday Night Lights, the only difference between winning and losing is how the outside world treats you. And so true. It's very true. And the Chiefs, hosting the Chargers, Chiefs are favored by 7. It's a flat number like that. I think the Chiefs definitely have some issues, but they're still the Chiefs at the end of the day. The Chargers, Herbert is very good. I guess I'll take the Chiefs with the 7, although I'm very hesitant to lay that 7 because I think the Chargers could definitely hang around this game, if not sneak up and win it. I think the Chiefs definitely still feel a little bit of hangover from the losing Super Bowl. Bengals, Steelers. I think the Bengals are going to win this game. The Steelers just don't look good. Ben doesn't look good. I think the Bengals gave away a game last week. I know, Bengals stud QB. He didn't look great last week, but late pick really hurt. But the problem with the Bears is you just can't move the ball. You can get big plays on them, but they didn't move the ball up and down the field because you can't. Hicks just takes up so much room in there, and of course you have just a solid defense. But I think Bengals Steelers, and we don't know what the identity of the Steelers offense really is yet. And the Bengals get out to 2-1. It's be a good year for them, and so I got them covering, possibly winning the game. It's the Steelers by 2.5. Bears at the Browns, very interesting game. I think if the Bears had any kind of offense, they're definitely going to play the rookie this week. But the Browns are tough. I don't see how this line is Browns by 7.5. I just don't. I know the Browns can score, but geez, the Bears defense is rough, and the rookie quarterback's going to make a couple of plays. We know he's going to make some nightmare plays, I'm sure too. But I'm definitely taking the Bears because the Bears play tight games, and I think Nagy's a good play caller. He just doesn't have the ability right now to call anything too creative. But I'm definitely going Bears there, minus that 7.5. Ravens at the Lions. Ravens laying 8 on the road in the NFC. Oof. I got to go Ravens there. The Lions played a pretty good game last week. I think that the Ravens took a big sigh of relief last week in getting that win versus the Chiefs. So I expect them to be very motivated today. Expect them to come out and roll with Lamar and see how it goes. Lamar, I'm really happy for him. Came back and won a big game last week. Saints and the Pats. Very interesting game here. Jameis, as always, coin flip. You don't know what you're going to get. Belichick is the master of messing with people with different defensive packages. What's going to happen here is, who knows? Pats by 3. That's a flat number. Pats are playing everything. Well, they played the Jets last week, but the Pats offense isn't really a big play offense. As Rosie's trying to dig through the rug right here. She's in the studio right now. But I'm definitely going to Pats. It's a tough choice, but we'll go there. Cards at the Jags. Cards are very talented. This is a team that could threaten the Super Bowl, but they're not going to get to home field in the playoffs because their division games are so rough. Cards are giving away 7.5 at the Jags. I know eventually the kid's going to wake up down there a little bit, but the Cards can just put up points, and Kyler Murray's an impossible cover. And being an A's fan, he doubly killed me last week because I'd like to have Kyler Murray in center field. He's a nice pick in the draft. But, hey, I respect him going to play football. He's a great kid. He plays hard. That's all you can ask. Skins and the Bills, another swing game. Both 2 1-on-1 teams. Bills are favored by 7. Skins offense showed some things, although the Giant defense is pretty boorish. But the Bills, I think, took a sigh of relief. It's not too windy up there today, supposedly. I'm going with the Bills, giving away the 7. Again, a flat number, potential for a push. Jets at the Broncos. Broncos at 10.5 is a lot to give. And you know this kid's going to wake up. Wilson's taking some chances, and he was awful last week, but he's got a little gunslinger. He got a little Brett Favre in him there. So I think that I think this game will be closer than 10.5. I think the Broncos will win the game, but I'm definitely picking the Jets to keep it closer than that. Eventually, that kid, if the light bulb's going to go on, I think he's going to be all right in the long run. But in New York here, they're ready to jump off buildings, 0-4. The Fins at the Raiders. 1-1 for the Fins, 2-0 for the Raiders. This is one thing that really sucks about the NFL. I mean, Tua's out. It really sucks when your young quarterback gets injured. Here's Tua, year 2, and he's going to miss some time. Obviously, he hurt his rib, and so it doubly kills you. See, he doesn't get to develop, and you don't get to evaluate, and you get those 3-year contracts basically where you're going to have to make a decision after a couple of years, and basically you're going to have to make a decision on whether you like him or not. And here he is. He's going to take a setback. He's going to have to basically get healthy again. It's going to take a bunch of weeks to do that. Then you got to get in a rhythm again. It's just doubly bad when one of these young guys gets hurt. I mean, it stunts the growth. Flores is an excellent coach, but I think that the Raiders, what was that, 3.5 at home? I'll take the Raiders just because there's no Tua there. And I'm happy for the Raiders being 2-0. I always respected John Gruden. Seahawks at my Vikes. Let me tell you why we have to win this game. If you lose this game, forget the 0-3 part. You're also 0-1 against 2 teams in the conference that you'd have to go against in a tiebreak. And 0-2 in conference out of your division is brutal because you know that at the end of the year, the Cards and the Hawks are going to be floating around there. And that's 2 teams you've lost to, not to mention a conference record is one of the higher up tiebreakers. So this is the Vikings really got to put their foot in the ground here and get a win, but no Dalvin Cook. Doesn't look like this is going to be rough. Of course, I'm going to pick my Vikes. But I tell you that, we're going to cover, I think, but I need to win the game here. Everybody always says, oh, yeah, you could be 2-0 if you had these 2 breaks. Well, if your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle. So it really doesn't matter. But And here I'm telling like it is. We don't sugarcoat bullshit. But can we manage the goddamn clock before the half today? That's the key. Will we give up any points? So far this year, we've given up 17 points in the last 2 minutes of a half. Can we just this year get a team off the field without giving up? So when we have the ball, can we understand that the other team's going to try and score? This isn't the NFL 40 years ago. People take a knee with a minute left. These people are going to try to score. Field goal kickers' legs is hitting from 60 yards and over 50 weekly, 60 yards sometimes. So can we actually sit here and understand the clock? Can we take the clock management away from Zimmer and have one person handle the clock, because he is awful at it. And we've been bad at it since Brad Childress. He was the worst at it. But this is just as bad. Rosie, what are you doing back there? No wrestling. No fighting in there. No fighting in the studio. But Bucs at Rams, definitely game of the year, could be potential-wise. I was looking forward to this game. I wish it was later in the year. I guess they tried to make this Sunday night game, but they couldn't. The Rams and the Bucs, just such an exciting game. I really like the Rams. The Bucs obviously are very talented, but it's going to be a fun game to watch. I think this game also has some home field ramifications for later in the year if it comes down to it, because I think the Rams are very ramifications are huge. And the home field down the road, I know it's early, but you never know at the home field and things of that nature. And again, conference games, very important against non-division foes. Pack at the Niners, this is a tough game. Anyway, the other game, I'm going to take the Rams with the 1.5, given the 1.5. Pack at the Niners, Pack favored by a flat number 3. I'll take the Pack. The Niners. I just don't think the Pack looked that good last week. I know Aaron Rodgers was dead on, but the Pack is not playing the Lions this week. And of course, who knows what that Pack defense didn't look great. Then we got the Eagles at the Cowboys. This is a swing game for a division lead, so this is really exciting because the Deadskins, the Eagles, and the Cowboys are all 1-1. So I got the Eagles have really pleasantly surprised so far this year. I think they're I think they look decent compared to what we maybe thought they would, but Hurts seems to be a little bit better than we thought. If the Cowboys would give the ball to Zeke, I think they'd be all right. We're going to go with the Cowboys. So we're going to go with the Cowboys 3.5. And we're going to go with the Cowboys with that 3.5. We'll lay the 3.5 for the Cowboys. I think that's going to be a fun game tomorrow night. But again, this week, like I said, these swing games, 2 teams are 1-1 in the division. Somebody will be 2-1. Their fan base will be pretty happy, and you think the feeling of having a happy year. Whereas a team that's 1-2 and always sees that you have a losing record. And again, it's that double pressure of you miss a kick by 10 feet and all of a sudden you have a loss. But everything you did all game didn't change. So if he makes it, you're a winner. If you miss, you're a loser. But the fact is, you're still the same team, whether they make it or miss it, but not in the public's eyes. And that's where that quote comes from. It's one of the best quotes of all time. As a matter of fact, it's probably the best sports quote I've ever heard. Like I said, the only difference between win and lose is how the outside world treats you is so true. So in the knockout pool this week, I went with half my picks with the Cards, and I went with half my picks. Who else did I go with? I went with the Cards with my picks, and I went with the Broncos with my other 2 picks. Remember, knockout pools without a spread. Knockout pools are straight up victory. So it's very important that we be organized here with these picks. I want to have 4 for 4 both weeks with the knockout. And so here we are at the end of week 3. We need the Vikings to get on the board. Got my Chris Carter jersey back on. Brought out the Fran Talkington in my Vikings Weekly last week. Hopefully my Vikings will find a way to get back in here. But again, game of the week, Rams and Bucs. Make sure you see that one. It's a 4:25 slot. Very important, which means no one will be watching my team or the Jets, which is fine by me. And we'll see you next week. And Vikings Weekly, again, Spotify, iTunes. I'm telling it like it is. Take care.